you visit American City, you will find it very pretty. Just two things of which you must beware. Don't drink the water and don't breathe the air. Pollution, pollution.
The negative impact mankind has had on our environment is evident in all of our daily lives, from scrolling through social media feeds to various forms of advertisements, like magazines or the sides of buses. Images of destruction and devastation are abundant. One of the silent partners in the downfall of our environment is the overfilling of landfills. Although landfills may not seem like much, the irresponsible waste disposal and pollutions that are caused have a tremendous impact on not only the land surrounding the dump sites, but an even worse effect to the oceans. As landfills continue to be filled beyond capacity, our planet suffers. Everything is affected from the atmosphere to the oceans to microorganisms. Taking a closer look at some specific effects, John Newton writes in The Effects of Landfills on the Environment that the creation of one single landfill causes a loss of 30 to 300 species per hectare. To give a better idea of just what a hectare is, that's larger than the size of a football field. For the species that are not destroyed by the creation of landfills, they are faced with disruptions to their natural behavior patterns. In his article, Environmental Problems, Landfills, Jared Skye makes note of this. Skye states that many species change their long-established patterns of hunting or migrating to eat the uncovered food waste found in landfills. Much of the waste these animals are consuming is not safe for them, and many could end up having food poisoning. With all of the food waste and organic matter disposed of in landfills, Newton tells us that they have a negative impact on our atmosphere. As these buried organic materials decompose, they release methane, a potent greenhouse gas that contributes directly to global warming. He goes on to state that chemicals from landfills contaminate the groundwaters, which can leak into rivers and lakes. When these leachates, or liquid from landfills, contaminate groundwaters, they end up contaminating surrounding bodies of waters too. When the leachates reach rivers, the harmful water is carried downstream to the oceans and affects marine life. Skye tells us that leachates often contain heavy metals as well as organic compounds like pharmaceuticals, pesticides, disinfectants, and fire retardants. Not only can these hazardous waters kill aquatic life with just the chemicals found within them, but the contaminated waters also cause an excess of algae to build up. As algae growth increases and uses the oxygen in water, this results in a greater number of deaths. Moreover, the toxins in leachates can kill wild and domestic animals that drink these waters. In How Does Plastic End Up in the Ocean by Louisa Casson, she points out that even when it's in a landfill, plastic is at risk of blowing away and ending up in rivers or oceans. These plastic items can be carried by wind and rain into our drainage networks or rivers that then flow into the sea. Linda Tufano states in her piece, What Happens When Our Oceans Become Landfills, that an estimated 80% of ocean plastic comes not from marine sources like discarded fishing equipment, but is carried downstream in rivers. To put this statistic into another perspective by quoting Casson, that's 1.15 to 2.41 million tons of plastic that is discarded in our oceans through means of major rivers worldwide. So where exactly do we go from here? Two simple solutions that can be implemented quickly are composting and recycling. Composting organic or biodegradable materials and recycling what we can would be solutions to empty space in landfills, decrease pollution throughout oceans, and give back in numerous ways. In short, composting would remove all biodegradable organic materials from landfills. If you remember, these are the objects that are releasing methane as they decompose. By removing these items from landfills and disposing of them properly, the administrative group for the Bokashi bucket explains in their article 3 positive environmental impacts of composting that we would be cutting down on greenhouse gas generation. Additionally, the compost soil would offer organic means of growing. And, best of all, composting is a low-cost production. Recycling offers many benefits as well. According to Skye, 21% of waste in landfills is food. Much of what gets disposed of in landfills can be easily recycled when looked at in this way. Similarly to composting, recycling is a cheaper option for waste disposal and can also produce beneficial items as an end result. Where compost offers healthy soil to grow in, recycling has an almost endless supply of possibilities for the recycled materials. By recycling, we are also conserving energy and reducing pollution in numerous ways.
The University of Central Oklahoma wrote an article called Recycling. Recycling gave statistics on how much better recycling is for the environment and our health. In the United States, landfills include more than 80% of all solid waste. Recycling could decrease the amount of waste by 50% or more, and that is dramatically decreasing the pressure on the landfills and other disposal systems, which pose a threat to our environment, marine life, and overall life on Earth. By using recycled paper, 60% of the water normally needed in paper manufacturing is saved. By using recycled steel, there's a 40% water savings. Making new steel from old scrap offers all the way up to 75% in energy savings, and recycling paper saves up to 70% of energy that is needed to cut down new timber and create more paper. By using recycled glass, you would save 50% of the water used. Recycling plastic bottles could reduce 50% of the energy needed to make new ones. Recycling aluminum instead of bauxite ore cuts the use of energy by 95%, yet you will see that humans will throw away more than 1 million tons of aluminum per year. Making products from recycled paper reduces the pollutants in water by 35% and pollutants in the air by 73%. Using steel that was recycled for manufacturing can eliminate 76% of the pollutants in the water, 86% in the air, and 97% of the mining waste that would normally be produced. Using glass that was recycled can also decrease the amount of water used by manufacturing by 50% and decrease air pollution by 20% and decrease mining waste by 80%.
And if those numbers weren't enough to sway you, composting and recycling would only be beneficial for the economy. An increase in recycling and creating proper composting sites would create more jobs. The newly formed objects would also generate revenue to go back into the economy. Compost soil could be sold much like manure for gardening, and as previously stated, the possibilities are endless for recycled material. According to Sky, waste production has been the lowest since the 1990s, and the proportion which ends in landfills is down to 53%, or 136 million tons in 2014 from 89% in the 1980s. These positive figures reflect the growing trend to recycle material, up from 10% in the 1980s to 34% in 2014. Society has already taken a step in the right direction with the increase in recycling. Several companies are taking a step further to help save the planet.
Christopher Mims wrote Landfills. Mims gives an example of how other high-end companies or cities have taken their part in recycling and going green. Unilever's Lipton tea plant in Suffolk, Virginia, now sends 92% less waste to landfills than it did in 2007. They now recycle 70% of its waste and compost 22% more.
Other companies have found creative and innovative ways to clean up our oceans. Adidas created a prototype for a sustainable shoe, making its yarns and filaments from reclaimed illegal deep-sea gill nets and other ocean waste. The product is the first to come out of the company's partnership with Parley for the Oceans. Surfer Kelly Slater's menswear label, Outer Known, has created board shorts and jackets made from Econol, a nylon yarn made from nylon waste, including old fishing nets. Another jumping to the rescue is Pharrell Williams. Williams launched a line of clothing that creates denim using a yarn made from recovered ocean plastics.
Mims also stated that other companies, including Walmart, Apple, and Epson, plan to start strongly reducing their waste streams and potentially get rid of them completely. These companies are doing it out of their own self-interest. Mims also wrote about how cities have taken action in the zero waste goal using motivation instead of technology to get there. San Francisco started a pay-as-you-throw program that charges local residents based on how much of their household trash they throw out. San Francisco is one of the first cities in the U.S. to apply a curbside composting program with recycling.
The landfills, recycling, and composting would be to incinerate a larger portion of our waste. You may ask why we don't just get rid of our waste entirely by burning it all. The administrative team for the Bokashi bucket warns that during this burning, gases such as nitrous oxide and carbon dioxide are released into the atmosphere, which contributes to atmospheric warming. Sadly, nitrous oxide is 310 times more potent and heat-trapping than carbon dioxide. The gradual heating up of the environment has the unintended consequences of climate change. Incinerating would remove the methane gas being released by organic materials, but would only further damage the atmosphere and continue to aid in global warming. You might also ask, why should we care so much about the oceans, especially if we don't live near one? Why oceans are important, by reference, gives us several excellent reasons as to just why the oceans should matter to everyone globally. Oceans are precisely what allow for life on our planet. It is because of these large bodies of water that we have fresh water. According to the article, oceans help form clouds, which in turn provides fresh water around the world. The oceans not only absorb human waste like CO2 and help clean our atmosphere, but the aquatic plants create more than half of the Earth's oxygen. To further the usefulness of the oceans, the marine life, most commonly fish, provides food for human consumption and millions of dollars a year in profitable jobs. Despite not always being conscious of how much we rely on our oceans, all living creatures desperately need them, and we need them in the best conditions possible. In some ways, specific damage may be irreversible, but the goal is to correct as much of the problem as we can, as well as prevent any further damage from happening. Recycling and composting are more effective and more cost-efficient when compared to landfills and have the potential to aid the economy in addition to the planet. We must see the problem as a collective one and work together to strive not only for cleaner oceans, but a cleaner world.
Don't go near the water. Don't you think it's sad? What's happened to the water? Our water's going bad. Oceans, rivers, lakes, and streams have all been touched by man.